Welcome to the Liturgist Podcast, everyone. I'm Science Mike, and today we're talking about suffering. What is it exactly? How should we think about it? What can we do to alleviate it? And how do we suffer well?
To get things started, let's consider what it means to be a human being on planet Earth today. If you have economic means to listen to this podcast through a computer or a phone or a tablet or whatever you use, you're likely among the richest and most privileged human beings to have ever lived. You most likely have running water, a toilet that flushes, clean water to drink. You most likely have a bed to go to sleep in, a roof over your head. You most likely will eat more than one meal today. Think about it, before modern times, even royalty didn't have a lot of the luxury and convenience that we have today. Think about Advil. What do you think an emperor of Rome, for instance, might have given for a bottle of Advil? Let's take a minute and consider what it's like to be a human being somewhere else on Earth right now.
About a year and a half ago, I was really in a place where I needed to reconnect with a mission on a personal level.
This is Scott Harrison, founder of Charity Water.
Ethiopia, I'd mentioned, I've been there so many times, 27 times now. And a few trips back, I was in this $3 a night hotel room. And the hotel owner, walks out of the kitchen, recognizes our group, and says, "You guys are doing great work here in the region. Let me tell you a story." And he sits down and says, "I come from a rural village. And in my village, years ago when I was growing up, there was this woman that used to walk 8 hours every day with a clay pot, a heavy clay pot on her back. And she would walk to dirty water." And he said one day, at the end of her journey, she comes back into our village. And before she reaches her house, she slips and she falls. And her clay pot breaks and all the water spills out into the ground. And he said, she didn't go back and get more water. She hung herself from a tree in my village. And he kind of let that sit with our group. And then he walked back into the kitchen. I remember looking at, our friends at the time saying, there's no way that story can be true. Tell the Westerners a shocking story. And it just nagged at me. And I sent our partners to his village, and they verified that this woman, Ledikiros Hailu, had lived there and had indeed committed suicide. And I asked my wife for a pass and said, I need to go and live in this village. I need to walk in her footsteps. I need to see the tree. It was not easy to get to. It was a 5-hour drive from the regional town in the north, and then I had to hike 9 hours over the mountains, having rented a camel and a donkey to put water and my solar backpack and stuff on. And I just spent a week in this village, kind of just living it. And, it's so hard, guys, getting people here to imagine what it's like. But when you walk in the footsteps of these women as they are every single day, down to a swamp that's being shared with animals, and you watch kids drink fecally contaminated water, it outrages you. It makes you want to act for one person or one family or one village, and then it becomes the second village and the fifth village and the 10th. And I didn't know this until I lived there, but she was 13 at the time of her death. She was a little girl. And I had spent time with her best friend who had walked with her that day, who was, by the way, still walking for dirty water when I'd gone there. And, I asked her friend, her name was Yeshereg. I said, why do you think your friend didn't go back? Why not just get water the next day? Surely accidents happen. And she said, it would have been the shame. There would have been too much. Because she knew that she broke this valuable asset of the family, the clay pot, and that her family would go without water for dinner, and that her mom was waiting for that water that she had walked all day for to cook dinner, and she had let her family down because of her carelessness and her misstep, and that was too much to face them. And I have this photograph of this tree, this frail tree, And the thought of a 13-year-old taking the rope from the pot and climbing up the tree and jumping, which fired me up, guys. I mean, you know, I came back and I still go back there as the reason why.
This story may sound extreme to you, but when you look at the numbers, the pain caused by extreme poverty on this planet is exceedingly difficult to take in. Almost half of the human beings alive today, over 3 billion of us, live on less than $2.50 a day. Under half of us have electricity. 2.3 billion of us don't have access to adequate sanitation. More than 650 million of us don't even have access to clean water. This is overwhelming. And for some people, they become hopeless in the face of such staggering injustice.